Hey golfers, it's Dan Handy here with Handy Golf, and I'm excited to share with you today about how to use a TrackMan facility to get better at golf. You see, when I set out to get better at golf, I was a 25, 28 handicap, terrible, and I wanted to get good enough to at least not be embarrassed when I was playing with my friends. So one of the things I used was a TrackMan facility like this, and it can really help you to get a lot better. So today we're going to go through how to use the TrackMan, how to be able to practice with the TrackMan, what do the numbers mean, and how can I see real improvement in my golf game. You can also download the Handy Golf app if you're really interested in getting more instruction and improving to your max level. Most TrackMan simulators are laid out very similar. There's going to be a screen, and this is going to be a special screen where you can hit balls into. There's going to be a hitting area. If you can see, this is kind of simulated grass down here, but this center section right here, you can see this is a section that can be replaced, and then this is where you're going to place your ball and you're going to be able to hit it. Now, as far as balls, most facilities you need to bring your own balls, but I highly suggest that you use a ball that you typically play with, because the TrackMan is going to give you very detailed specifics on how high it goes, how far it goes, how much it spins. That can change based on your ball. So if you're just hitting some different ball than you regularly play with, you're going to get different numbers. So choose a ball that you normally play with. The other part will be the TrackMan unit itself might be overhead, but in this particular facility, many of them have a TrackMan that's behind, and can't see it right here, but you can see it later. It is under this table and it's pointing this way. Now, it is important on a TrackMan, it is aligned to have a certain center point on the screen, and we'll show you that later. There's going to be a control computer. On this facility, it's really nice. They've got it mounted right here to the wall. It's got a customizable screen. I've got my keyboard so that I can go ahead and control the TrackMan from this area, and it mimics whatever is on the projector screen. First thing you're going to do on the computer is log in. Now, you can sign in as a guest if you want to. That would work, or you can sign up for an account. You can go to trackman.com and get an account. The way I prefer to do this is get your TrackMan account and then download the TrackMan app on your phone. Then this is great because I can push this quick login button, and then there's a QR code right up here in the corner, and so I scan that, and then it automatically logs me in. Now, you can play on a TrackMan with a guest account. Sometimes when I'm coming over for a quick practice, I'll just put the guest account on there. However, if you log in, what's really cool is that it connects with the app and it'll keep track of all your stats. So you can see all these range sessions that I had. I can go back and refer to those. If I played in a round, I can go back and look at my scorecard or what I did. I suggest creating an account. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. On the main menu, let's dive into practice first. So right here on the left-hand side, we've got practice. Here we are. These are different things that we can do for practicing, okay? They have some on-course practice where you can actually select a particular hole, and I want to practice this hole or this spot, or you can drop a ball anywhere on the hole to say, oh, I have trouble hitting over the water on this hole, so let me place the ball here, and you can practice scenarios. In the test center, it will give you more like detailed testing of your game and stuff. In the performance center, it gives you different scenarios of different length hits and stuff so that it can kind of help you identify the areas of your game that you maybe need improvement. Target practice lets you take aim at particular holes, and we'll show you that here in a second. The shot analysis is the one that I particularly have used the most for practicing, and we'll go over that. You've got your range session. It's kind of like hitting on a range, and we'll go over that too. So let's go ahead and start with the range. Here's something that's interesting. Elevation makes a big difference on your distance, your spin. Right here, there's a game setting that you can set it, and you can see it set to 5,000 feet because that's about what we're at here in Utah. But you could set this to sea level, or if you're at 500 feet, you could set it to that. And you were going to travel to a sea level place to play a round of golf in California or Florida, you could actually use this, set this, and get your distances. So that's a really cool feature. You can see my user is already logged in, but you can always add another player. You can add a guest. You can just add yourself as a guest if you didn't log in with anybody. And then we're going to go ahead and start practice. Okay, so it gives you all of your clubs that you can practice with. I'm going to start with a sand wedge. You can put this circle at about what an average, sand wedge would be for use. Now here I want you to notice right here, it shows two circles. That dash circle that's smaller, it says tour. It's 5 yards. That means at this distance, a tour player would have the balls landing within a 5-yard radius of that target, right? And a 15 handicap is going to be at this distance within 11 yards. So that's kind of cool because it gives you an idea of if you're doing well or not. Over here, every shot as I hit it is going to get logged here. Over here, it's going to show me my dispersion of shots, where they landed. This will also tell me how many landed within the circle. You can see it says target hit 0 out of 0. If I hit it in the circle, it will show that how many of those land in the circle. It just gives you a small amount of statistics here. But you can customize this because I don't really like these two. So I like to turn on club head speed and ball speed. If you were going to change clubs, you just simply click this club and then select what different club you were going to play and set your yardage and you're done. Let's go ahead and hit a couple of shots and show you what it's like. Got the ball right here in the middle and I'm hitting towards the middle of the screen. And so we'll just hit a ball. Now the TrackMan takes just 1 second to register and then it's going to show you your ball flight. So you can see I hit that ball and that is within inside the circle. So you can see here updates. Now it says targets 1 of 1 hit. So you can see how that works. Now as I hit more shots, let's go ahead and hit another one. As I hit more shots, you'll see it starts to show you your dispersion circle. So you can see that one went right on the line and right inside that circle there. And now it will start to create, once I hit one more shot, it'll start to create a dispersion circle. Now it's created this dispersion circle showing my shots, what's the difference of those shots. And you can see I've got 2 shots inside of this tour level 5-yard circle and 1 shot inside the 11-yard circle. And so, now I can also keep an eye on my numbers here, but this range option is really great for this aspect, for dispersion, for understanding what are my tendencies. I already know my tendency is to pull it left a little bit, and you can see 2 of my 3 shots here went left, right? So I already know that that's my tendency. This is really useful if you're out on the course to know 80% of my misses are left or right or whatever your tendency is, because that can really help you plan in course management. So the range is great for dispersion, having consistency of hitting it at a circle, and understanding your tendencies as far as your misses. Okay, so I'm done with the range and I want to go back. So you click this little hamburger menu up here. Now it gives you, now you can change some of the settings, but one of the options, and you can go back if you accidentally did that, but one of the options is just to quit game. Then you quit out of that game and then it will take you back to the main menu here. The shot analysis. This is the function that I by far use the most, and it has the most tools to be able to improve. So once again, you're going to select a player. You could have multiple players. So if you're here with buddies or kids or whatever, you can set up multiple players. And so then I've selected myself. I've got my pitching wedge in hand, so I'm going to do my pitching wedge. It gives you these views. Now, usually when you log in, the screen is going to look like this. This is called tracer view, where it's going to trace your shot and it's going to show you. Here you can push this button and that will do a split screen. On the split screen, you can do different views. This is an overhead view, and then you can change the views by pushing that little 4 quadrants. The views that I use the most are the video view, which we'll show you here in a second, and the impact view, which is a great view. And these can give you just some really good information, but just so you know, here's how you change the views. Now, if you just want it full screen, then you tap that button with the arrows again, and you're back to full screen. Across the bottom, you see all of these statistical numbers. You can also see it showing that this is the aim point right in the middle of the screen. That's considered straight. So wherever you line up, you're aiming right for there. To customize the statistics that you want to see at the bottom, then you click this button, and here is all of the things that you can have. And then if you wanted to take something off, you just tap it. If you want to add something, then you tap it again. It will put them on in order of tapping. So if you wanted to have club speed, then ball speed, then you'd have to unselect everything and then select ball speed second and just select them in the order that you want them in. These are my favorite numbers. So this is what I've customized it. I like it this way, in this order. And let me explain what all of these mean. So this is the club head, right? This part of the club. So that is how fast is that club head moving at the point of impact, if that makes sense. So in this case, it was 78.3 miles per hour at the point of impact. Attack angle means coming into the ball. What angle was this in? A negative number means it was coming down. So that means as I was hitting the ball, my club, and here's the ball right here, my club head was coming down into the ball at negative 2.4 degrees. So you're saying, is that good or bad? Well, when we're hitting with our irons, we want exactly that, a negative angle of attack. Right? So negative 2.4 degrees is a good number. It's solid. If it was -8 or -10, then that's probably way too much. I'm like chopping down on the ball. If it was 0 or a positive number with my irons, that would mean that I'm coming and kind of lifting on the ball, and that's not what we want. With our irons, we want to be compressing the ball. We want to be hitting down on the ball and let the loft of the club right here launch the ball into the air, not have me scoop it. Next, we've got our club path. So the club path is pretty simple. It means the path as I was coming right through the ball. So my club could be doing whatever, but here at the end, there's really only 3 kinds of paths. I could be moving straight, exactly straight through the ball, and that would give me a club path number of 0. Or I could be moving slightly from the inside to the outside. Now I'm going to exaggerate this so you can just see it. From the inside of the ball to the outside of the ball. And that would be a positive number. So my club path was a positive 1.0, which means I was just barely coming from the inside to the outside just by 1 degree. Or you can come from outside to in, and that would be a negative number on there. If you have a problem slicing the ball, you've probably got a pretty significant number, a negative number, because you're coming across the ball like this and generating side spin. So that's one instance of how you could use that path number to go, oh, yeah, I don't want to hit the ball across it like this anymore. How can I work on my technique to come underneath and hit the ball from the inside to the out so it creates that draw effect and goes from right to left instead of left to right. If you want to learn how to do those techniques, you can download the Handy Golf app and we teach you all of those things. But that's what you can use that club path number for. The face to path, if you can see this club face, this would be called a square club face, meaning this is straight. And if I hit the ball with a square club face, it's going to go straight. An open club face would mean that it's like this, where the toe comes out. Open club face is going to promote the ball going to the right. A closed club face is where the toe comes out here in front, and that is going to promote the ball going to the left. This number right here, face to path, means relative to this path that I was swinging at, my club was a negative 1.1. Now let me just bring up this other view here. So this is a really great illustration if you have a hard time understanding path and face to path. Here, if you click that and you click the impact icon, now it's showing exactly what I was explaining to you. See, you can see this blue line represents the path that my club face was traveling on. Right here, club path was in to out 1 degree. You can see starting barely on the inside of the ball and barely coming towards the outside of the ball, right? And then my face, my club face traveling on that path was negative 1.1 degree. So it was closed just a tiny hair. That combination is what created my shot to start exactly straight and then curve just a little bit to the left. If I was going to curve it a little bit to the left, if I wanted to hit exactly on the line, then I should have started it just a hair to the right and had it curve back. So it wasn't a perfect shot, but it's a very good shot. Like that is not very far offline. This area, this screen right here, if you select the impact, it can give you that data. And this is a really useful tool. Let's talk about the low point number. So the low point, if the club is moving on an arc, the low point refers to the lowest point of this swing arc, right? I'm swinging, my club head is going up, 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 and now it's coming down, 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 and at some point it stops going down and starts coming up again. So this is measuring where is that lowest point. And it will give you a number in inches, and then it'll give you a letter, A or B. A means after the ball, B means before the ball. So with my irons, I want my low point to be after the ball. If you've ever watched the pros hit this awesome shot, they will hit the ball and then their club bottoms out after the ball, several inches after the ball, and that's when they take their divot. They take their divot after the ball. If you've ever hit a divot and it chunks your ball, it's because your club bottomed out before the ball and you hit the ground first, then you hit the ball. But all great ball strikers are hitting the ball first and after. So this is an awesome stat. I love this stat. I use this all the time, and when I've helped people, I've shown this to them, and you can transfer so much more power into the ball by hitting the ball first and then having the low point of your club after the ball. So ball speed is pretty self-explanatory. The club head speed was how fast my club is moving into the ball, and now how fast is the ball moving? Of course, the ball speed should be greater than my club head speed, and you can see my ball speed was 103.6 miles per hour. We'll go ahead and throw in this video, we can show you a chart of PGA Tour averages, like what their ball speeds are for different clubs and stuff. We could also give you a little bit of data in terms of regular golfers and what their ball speeds are, because when I started using the TrackMan, I'm like, great ball speed, but I have no clue if that's good or bad or regular, normal, in the high range, in the low range. Try to give you some of that data here in this video so that you can take a look at it and know sort of where you sit. Now, the smash factor is simply a multiplier of this number. So it's simply ball speed divided by club head speed. So 1.32 times my club head speed turned into ball speed. So what it's trying to tell you is how well are you transferring power from your club head into the ball. And also, it's just a curious note that club manufacturers are limited to where they can't have a club head that provides a greater smash factor than 1.5. Usually you don't get up into that number until your driver, but I have definitely hit 1.5 on the dot with my driver. And the lower club head speeds, you know, when you're swinging with your wedges and stuff, you're not going to get a 1.5. 1.3 is really good for a pitching wedge. Okay, the next number is launch angle. This is the dynamic loft that is created with this, but over here, this is the launch angle. So when it came right off the club face, it was launched at a 25-degree angle. Now, what you'll notice is a normal pitching wedge is about 45 degrees of loft here. But when I'm hitting down on the ball, you see I'm doing what's called de-lofting my club. And so I'm actually changing the loft on that. And so I want this number to be lower. If that was 45 degrees, then the ball would go super high, but wouldn't go very far, right? So 25 degrees launch angle is a decent angle for a pitching wedge like that. Spin rate here, it's talking about the backspin on the ball. So this is 6,955 backspin. So normally on this particular shot, that was a little low for me. I normally hit closer to 8,500 backspin. It probably just didn't catch clean on my club face. Because on your higher wedges, you want really high backspin so that the ball will stop on the green. You can see, because it was lower spin, this one rolled out 5 yards. You want your pitching wedge to be 8,000 to 9,000, and that's enough to where the ball will stop immediately or even come back a little bit, depending on the green conditions and how soft they are or whatever. The other factor is height, so how high the ball went. That will help it land softer. So this one went 99 yards. I did hit this one just a little bit lower. Normally I hit it a little bit higher, and that helps with it landing softer and stopping. And here, this carry number. The carry refers to how far the ball traveled in the air and then landed on the ground. And then you get a total number. So you see here, with this difference in this number being 5 yards, that means that this landed and rolled out 5 yards, which once again, like I said, normally with a pitching wedge, I want those numbers to be equal or a little bit less. So if this wasn't a perfect shot, it was a good shot, but it was not a perfect shot. So I would look to have my spin rate a little higher. I would want my height to be a little higher, and I'd want to see the carry and the total numbers be the same. Understanding those numbers, see, I didn't understand any of these numbers when I started on a TrackMan. So that's why I wanted to share it with you so that you could utilize this. Now, I want to show you real quick a couple of other screens that you can use to do a split screen to help yourself. So this one is the impact, and this is really great, right? We're using the impact. I use this one a lot. This one is really great. You can also look at impact location. So you can see, that's pretty cool. You can see that hit pretty center of the club face. Now, I want you to notice something. It is showing you in these crosshairs where the center of your iron is. If you notice something, it is not the vertical center of the club face. The center of the club face where you want to hit is a little bit in that lower half of the club. It's not clear up here. So you can see, even though I hit this in pretty much in the middle, I was a little bit high off the club face and a tiny bit to the right. So that's part of the reason why some of my numbers weren't ideal. The center of the club face it's showing is right there. That's exactly where I want to hit it. I was a little high and right of that. Where you hit on the club face, this is especially a really useful one to use if you're hitting your driver, because you can have a difference of 40 to 50 yards in how far your shot goes depending on where you hit on the driver face. If you hit it in the middle versus the toe versus up high or towards the hosel. So this is a good one to use. The other one that I use a lot, and that is the video option. Can you see on the right hand side now, it's going to give me a video playback of my swing. Okay, and so I can look at multiple things here to try to get better with my swing. Now, here's what I love about the newer TrackMan options here. You see it's automatically drawing some lines here. You see how it's drawing a circle around my head. It's a little bit off, but it's close. That's useful for me to see if I kind of keeping my head in the same location or keeping it still. They're automatically drawing a line here from the ball up through my shoulders and from the ball through my waist. Now, this is really critical because some people would call this the slot or the cone of success. Like great ball strikers towards the end of their swing are swinging through this area and getting the club to come through that area to be able to hit the ball really well. So they've already drawn the lines for you. You used to have to draw them yourself. You can draw lines yourself if you want. So I could come in here and I can click on any of these drawing tools right here, right? And I can draw additional lines. If I can say, okay, I want a line right here behind to see if I'm going backwards or not. You've got playback speed here, so you can say I want this at 1/8 speed, 1/4 speed, half speed, or full speed. This is an awesome tool, so sometimes I might come and say, gosh, I gotta work on my hips better, I gotta work on not moving forward in the downswing, and I can draw these lines and I can look at this video over and over again and use this as a tool to improve. So it's really great that way. Here's the face on. So same thing, I could draw lines here and I could say, well, I don't want to sway backwards, so let's make sure I'm not swaying backwards, and then I can play. I can watch my swing in slow motion from face on. I can look to see, am I shifting my weight forward? So I could say, okay, I want to make sure by the end of my swing that I'm shifting my weight forward over here. Let's take a look if I do that. And you can see, okay, I shifted my weight forward and I hit the ball. Okay, you can see these tools are just really great to be able to look at. If you're wanting to know what to look at or what to analyze, you can download our Handy Golf app. We even actually have a swing analyzer where we step you through the most common things that you should be looking at, either face on or down the line, to analyze your swing. And once you've learned those, you can use them on a TrackMan or anything like this. There are other options that you can use here. I really don't use the rest of these. I mean, you can get a bigger thing of your numbers. When people do speed training, I've seen them just do this, deselect everything, and they say, well, all I care about is my club head speed and my ball speed. That way, then I've got this. If I was doing speed training, I don't want to be worried about where it went. I just want to see if I can maximize my speed. So this is a common way that people do it, and that's one way that you can do that, is with that particular screen there. This particular function of the shot analysis is super useful. There's so much that you can use to practice and to get better in this area of the TrackMan. Now let's take a look at the target practice real quick. I use this from time to time. This is kind of a fun way to just work on your approach game of trying to hit balls closer to the hole. See, so I can go here and I can say, okay, well, I've got my gap wedge, so let me choose this 120 yard pin over here. We selected this target. It's 120 yards away. It's on this green. Down here, it does tell me that it's just 7 inches of elevation, so that's almost nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and hit a shot. And so I'm going for this pin. I think I hit it a little hard. Yep, but it's got some backspin and it's coming back. So you can see that this is just a great drill for approach shots. You can see down here in the corner, it shows where that landed. I hit it dead straight at the pin. I just hit it a little too hard. I hit that 131 yards, but I had almost 9,000 spins, so it spun back 2 yards because the total ended up being at 129. So this is really good practice for your approach shots of trying to get on the green to get better. Let's look at the performance center real quick. Once again, I can set the altitude and then I'll say go ahead and start practice. Now, this is designed to give you strokes gained number, if you've ever watched a tournament and heard that. So this is going to compare me to the pros. So I'm going to work on my short game here. So I'm going to say, let me take this down to 30 yards on the low end, 90 yards on the high end. I've got my 62-degree club. It's going to pick a random hole, random distance. So I don't know what it's going to do. It's just going to test me. See, it's just random, and I've just got to pick these out and try to hit these distances. So let's see, that might be a bit hard. Nope, it's not bad. Look at that. Okay, it's going to draw back because with my backspin, and that's really close. And that's inside the circle, and so I actually got 0.44 strokes gained on that particular shot compared to a Tour Pro professional from 70-something yards. So if you want random practice, this is a great mode to do that, and you can keep just doing this and then see your full summary. This is a great thing for that. Let's take a quick look at on-course practice. So on-course practice, I can select a particular place. So let's say Pebble Beach. And let's say here I want to start my practice. What's cool is I can actually pick out a specific hole or something that I want from that to practice. The iconic hole at Pebble Beach. So I can select that one in particular. And I'm going to come down here. It looks like it's putting me on the tee box. And this is 106 yards from here. So I can move this where I want to hit from. I can place the ball anywhere, or I can change the hole. We'll go ahead and play it from these, looks like it's the black tees. 106 yards. It's downhill 29 feet, which is almost 10 yards. Let's see which way the wind is blowing. Oh, it's got 0 wind on this. So I need to hit this probably about 100 yards. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab my club and hit that. So let's see if that'll make it there. It might be a bit short on the green, and boom. Oh, pretty good shot. This just gives me a chance to play any hole, any scenario. Like you can say, oh, I can move it to the bunker and hit it from there. But it's pretty cool way to practice certain scenarios or certain holes. The last area under this practice section is the test center. So we'll go ahead and go there. In the test center, you can set up specific drills, or you can do this TrackMan combine against the best of yourself. We'll go ahead and show you here on this scenario. So here we're going to do the wedge test. So similar to some of those other modes, it's going to give me a random distance. It lets me warm up first, but I'll go ahead and say start. Okay, it's testing my wedges. It's going to give me a random distance. See, it's saying 1 out of 20. So it's giving me a 91 yard shot. So we'll pull out my 62 degree here. I hit it 92.4 yards, but looks like I pushed it to the right. So it gave me a score only of 76 out of 100 on that. So that was not a great shot. And now it's giving me my next random shot of 50. So I'll try to hit a 50-yard shot here. Dead on. But I did hit it a little hard. And so it gave me a 76.5 on that one. So you can see this mode. I'm just going to go through. Now here comes another one. 87 yards. So I got to try to feel like, what does 87 yards feel like? That one only went 76.3 yards, and I got a score of 80.7. You can see it's just helps you dial in your numbers to be able to get more and more accurate. And it's similar to some of those other practice modes, but this could be a useful one if that's what you're looking for. Now that I've practiced with TrackMan, maybe I want to play a course around somewhere. This is probably one of the most common uses of the TrackMan. Tons of courses all around the world. Some of them are actual real courses, and others are virtual courses, and they'll say on there, right? You can search here by a particular name. Maybe I wanted to play Pebble Beach or something. So you're going to add players. If you're playing with your buddies, you can add them as guests, no problem. So you could say add guest. For each player, you have certain things that you can customize on each player. So here I can say what tees I'm going to play from. So right here I could say, well, gosh, I don't want to play the US Open tees. I want to play the gold tees, right? And then I can put that on there. Everybody can play from their own tees, right? And then you've got game settings that you can set, okay? So you can allow mulligans, you can make it harder. What most people do on a TrackMan simulator when they're playing around is to do the auto putting. You can do auto putting by fixed, which means they have a little circle. If you get it inside that circle around the hole, then it automatically counts a 1 putt. If it's outside the circle, it automatically counts a 2 putt. And if it's a 3 putt outside of 6 feet, 65 feet, right? You could do an auto tour pro, so like based on statistics of a tour pro, or you could do your auto putting by handicap. So it can keep track of your handicap, and it could be like, oh, you're a 5 handicap, so the percentage probability that you would make this putt is this, and then it'll say whether you made it or not. I go ahead and say start game. Hole number 1. This gives me an overhead view of the hole. Okay, and this gives me the POV view. I can select where I'm aiming. You see, it's by default, it's aiming here and it's telling me that's 181 yards. So I could aim over here and say, well, I can hit my driver like 270, so I want to aim over in this area. And then you can see it's changing my aim point. I've got 346 yards, it's a par 4, and I've got it on warm up. Now you may be asking, well, how do I tee up a shot on this? So usually you're gonna need some form of an indoor tee. These are really common. These are little plastic tees. You can get these on Amazon or anywhere. Some of these mats support the use of a regular tee that you can put in there, but they usually need to be shorter because there's not so much ground to stick it in. You could use a rubber tee. There's different things that you can use, but you'll need some sort of tee to tee it up. And I just so then I can just hit some warm-up shots until I feel ready, and then I can start the round. So that's a warm-up shot. I pulled it a little bit left, but that's pretty good. Probably going to go in the sand bunker, maybe a little short. Okay. So if I can hit these warm-up shots, you see, just comes back and play it again. But let's say, okay, even though I'm really not warmed up, we'll go ahead and start anyway. We'll say ready to play. Now I'm going to change the aim point over here. I'm not going to try to kill this one. Hopefully I can just put it in the fairway. So, well, I guess if I hit it in the trees, then you can see what it's like to play from the trees. But so I'm going to go ahead and just hit a shot. Okay. It looks like we're hugging the tree line. Uh-oh. Now we hit the tree. Oh, that's interesting. So it can show you there the physics of the tree. So I hit the tree. It knocked down my ball. Now it says that I went in the rough. In that screen, it popped up, maybe you caught, there's certain actions that you can do in those like 5 seconds that screen is up. You can hurry and click a mulligan if you wanted a mulligan on that. It's good that I ended up in the rough so I can show you this. If you hit it in the fairway, then down below, it's gonna show you your power level and your spin level. And it should say 100% on both of those if you're in the fairway. Because I'm just hitting off of this regular surface, the simulator is trying to make up kind of lie I'm in by adjusting my shot, right? So if I was really hitting out of the rough, then what it's saying is whatever I hit, it's gonna pick this number, something between 89 to 94% of my power of whatever I hit, because I'm hitting out of the rough, so it's going to take a little power off. And then it's saying it'll take between 70 and 85% of my spin. That's true to form in the real world, right? If I was hitting out of the rough, I would get less power and I would get less spin out of it. I have 144 yards left to the pin, and then I have 14 feet of elevation. This says up, so it's 14 feet above me. So that's not a ton, but that's going to add a couple of yards of distance, right? Sometimes you're going to have big, huge elevation changes, and that can help you to adjust for that. You don't need to change this club here. This is my aim direction. It's aimed right at the pin. Also, right up here in the corner, if you can see, it says there is some wind. It's 2 miles an hour pointing that from left to right. So that's not very much. I could adjust for that if I wanted. Once again, all I have to do is touch to drag or change my aim point. And see if I can put this on the green. Oh. Now that, I thought I was going to be able to hit it under the trees, but that went through the tree. Now what I'm left is with 100 yards. So I'll go ahead and change my club real quick. It looks like I'm in this same light rough because it's the same percentages where it's going to take a little bit off the power and a little bit more off of the spin. So I'm going to grab my 56 degree. Boom. Okay, this is great. Now we can show you what happens in the sand trap. It's just important to pay attention to these numbers on these different scenarios. Well, I don't have sand here, and I'm just chipping off of a normal thing. So what's going to happen? How is the simulator going to adjust for the sand? So once again, I go back down here and I look and I see it's going to take 72% to 78% of the power, meaning like, yeah, if I'm in the sand trap and I'm hitting, then that sand is gonna slow down my shot a lot. But it is, in this particular lie in the sand, it's gonna give me 100% of the spin that I could get created. And I've got about 17 yards, but you can see it's also got a really big lip there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I've got to hit this high in about 17 yards. There we go. Whoa. Stop, stop, stop. Now you see it stopped in this circle, and we had the automatic fixed putting set on. So it gives me a gimme inside of that, counts one putt, and I bogeyed that hole despite hitting the tree twice and hitting it in the sand, but we were still able to pull out a bogey. Now we're gonna show you real quick the games. So maybe you've got some kids. Maybe your kids aren't into playing golf much. So this is kind of like Top Golf, right? They've got fun games here, like closest to the pin or hit the bullseye, or, you know, putt ones, these different ones. So these are just fun games. So on this one, like hit the target here, you can, you know, you have different venues that you can play this at. So maybe your kids like dinosaurs. Well, let's play the dinosaur one. You can add multiple players. These games are just fun, kind of sort of Top Golf style. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to use a TrackMan as a regular player. I'm just a regular golfer like you. This has really significantly improved my game. I've used TrackMan and other simulators to be able to help me do that. I hope by getting all of these insights that it can really help you understand how to use the TrackMan. When I first started using the TrackMan, I had no clue how to use all of these functions. So this video can be really useful in helping you just get a head start. If you'd like to learn more technique and more information about how to really improve your golf game, go ahead and go to the App Store and download Handy Golf, or go to handygolf.com.